YouTube, how you doing? Murph here, bringing you another product review. Today's review is going to be on the brand new, just released MZ1 Wireless. This is the newest gaming mouse put out by Xtrfy, done in collaboration with Rocket Jump Ninja, who also helped make the original MZ1 wired version a little over a year ago. And there's been some modifications and upgrades done for this wireless version, and we'll get into all of that when we talk about the specifications and what I think about the mouse. But as usual, we're going to start off by talking about the design and build quality. But before we get into that, I do want to announce a new product put out by BenQ. It's their ScreenBar Plus monitor light. All non-RGB lighting for this video will be done using this monitor light. A lot of you are already going to be familiar with monitor lights. They're very popular for gaming setups right now, and for good reason. They provide plenty of light directly where you need it with little to no glare on your monitor. But what makes this different than their other models, and most other monitor lights for that matter, is they actually give you this rotary dial that can be placed anywhere on your desk to control the brightness and the temperature settings for the LEDs, which makes it so much easier to use. And it's also got an ambient lighting mode, which helps read the ambient lighting in the room so that it can automatically adjust the brightness and temperature for your ambient lighting in the room automatically. I might do a full review on this monitor bar, I'm not quite sure yet, but it's a good one. If you guys want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description below to where you can buy it, where you can read more about it. So I would encourage anybody who doesn't have one yet or is looking to upgrade from their current model, feel free to take a look at that. Now let's talk about the design for the MZ1 Wireless. Now, as far as the design is concerned, it's really interesting because there's not a lot of mice on the market that look quite like the MZ1. If you can see here, it's got kind of this rounded hump in the back that was designed to kind of fit into your palm to make it a little bit more comfortable to hold. And if you see here, I don't know how well I can get the shot here to really represent how interesting this looks and feels, but there are these grooves inside of the mouse 1 and 2 buttons. So your fingers rest really well inside those mouse 1 and 2 buttons. And then the combination of that little hump in the back really sitting firmly into your palm, mixed with the fact that your fingers kind of go almost into these finger rests in a way, I guess you could say, just make this mouse very comfortable to hold. One thing I will say about the design of this mouse is that it's quite small, and we'll talk about the actual dimensions and the specifications portion of this video. I would say this mouse is going to be much more suited for small to average size hands. If you have a larger hand, you may find that this mouse is too small for you. Now, most people loved the original version of this mouse, but if there was one main complaint about it, it was that this design is not really for everyone. It's kind of a hate it or love it kind of thing. Fortunately, in this year's model, they actually give you in the box a different backing. And as you can see, it's a much flatter design. It takes away a lot of that hump in the back. So if that wasn't your thing for the original model, or if you're unsure if you would like that for this model, you can swap it out. And it's very easy to do. There's a single screw in the bottom here. You just unscrew it, pull this one off, put the new one on, put the screw back in, and you're good to go. It takes about 30 seconds to switch that out. And it even comes with its own screwdriver to do so. So very convenient in that aspect. Another thing to note about the design is there is a lot of RGB lighting in this mouse. However, they did get rid of kind of the band that went around the original model. And they claim they did that, one, to save battery life, but two, to save on the weight as well. Personally, that was something I really liked about the last model, but there's still plenty of RGB lighting inside this mouse. And the kind of translucent, opaque housing they use here shows that off really well. Now, one of the cool things about the design of this mouse is that you can actually customize it on Xtrfy's website. You can go on there and select a base color. You can select a top plate color. They've got a variety of colors. I think it's around, 8 to 10 colors you can choose from. You can even add some additional grips to this, and you can select all of those things and either choose to do it yourself or have Xtrfy do it for, I think it's like an additional $5. This mouse does retail for $119 US, but just out of curiosity, I kind of went in and customized this a couple of different ways to see what the max build price of this would come to, and I came out to $144 before tax. So even with all of those customization options, the most you're gonna pay is about $145 or so. And most of that came from the lizard skin grips anyways, which were like an additional $15 in and of themselves. So I really like the overall design of this mouse. Now, as far as the build quality is concerned, overall it's very solid. It's actually kind of interesting. You can see here that the plastic is actually very flexible. You can bend this pretty easily. However, once everything is put together here and the way that this back plate snaps in, there is actually no bending, creaking, or flexing in the top or bottom plates or the side panels or anything like that. Very little, really if any, side wobble on these mouse 1 and 2 buttons. Not a lot of movement there at all. It does feel very durable and very well made. So great build quality here. Now this mouse does come with a pretty thorough quick start guide, and it's going to explain to you how to change everything from your CPI settings to your polling rate to your RGB functions. It's also going to explain to you how to tell how much battery life you have left, all of that kind of stuff. So really useful. The one thing I will say is it's not the most intuitive system they use here. You kind of have to know which switch position you're in and then push a combination of buttons and then kind of rely on the color system that the RGB lighting lights up for you while having this quick start guide, or if you don't have this with you, pulling it up on their website so that you can kind of keep track of where you're at in their settings. I would definitely like to see a software option here, but as long as you have a quick start guide with you and a couple of minutes to spare, you shouldn't have any issues getting this mouse set up or changing any of the functions with this mouse. Now, as far as specifications are concerned, this mouse comes in at about 4.4 inches long, roughly 2.4 inches wide at its widest point, and about 1.5 inches in height. And it only weighs 62 grams. It also has 75 hours of battery life. It comes with a PixArt 3370 sensor, which is a very good one. And some of the specifications of that sensor are a CPI range of 400 to 19,000, a polling rate of 1,000 hertz, an adjustable debounce time of between 2 and 12 milliseconds, 400 IPS, and a max acceleration of 50 Gs. All of that to say, this is a great gaming mouse. So how is the actual gaming performance? As you would expect, it's great. I had no issues, especially in wireless mode. There was no noticeable latency at all, which again is to be expected. All of the buttons on this mouse are extremely clicky and tactile. They feel and sound great. The scroll wheel is a little tight. Some people like that, some people don't. I prefer just a little bit more of a loose, smoother scroll wheel. This one's a little bit tight for my preference, but a lot of people like that. That's one of those preference things. It just depends on your personal play style and what you like. It is a good scroll wheel though. You can feel all of the individual steps in between, which makes it very easy to switch weapons and first-person shooters and things like that. Overall, the performance of this mouse is great. All right, so what are my overall thoughts on this mouse? Overall, I think it's great. I think most people are going to be really satisfied with this gaming mouse. It does have a little bit of a more aggressive shape than most people are going to be used to. But again, it does come with an additional back plate, so you can kind of smooth out that back hump if that's something that you decide that you aren't comfortable with. At $120, it's really checking most of the boxes that you're looking for. It's got a great sensor, great buttons, build quality is solid, good performance, and overall it's just a great looking mouse, especially since you can go into their website and customize this a little bit if you prefer as well. I would say if there's any cons, it's two things. One, it is a little bit too small for a lot of people with larger hand types. And two, if there is any mouse on the market that could benefit from a software option, it's this one. The good thing is that both of those cons could potentially be addressed. One, depending on how the sales of this mouse go and kind of how they're feeling, there could potentially be a larger size coming at some point. It's not a guarantee. It's just something they're considering. And he mentioned the potential of a software option coming as well. And while neither of those are a guarantee, both of those things would cover any real con I have about this mouse at all. So if you're looking for a new mouse, this could be the one for you, especially if you have a small to average size hand. This thing will probably fit you like a glove. With that being said, that wraps up the review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you want to continue to see other content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can be notified of when I post new content. YouTube, we'll catch you later.